Welcome to the Entrepreneur Revolution press conference. To everyone in the room and everyone else joining us on live stream at the World Economic Forum in Davos. The last time we were all in Davos, UpLink, an open innovation platform designed to unlock entrepreneur revolution for people, the planet, by supporting startups, innovative solutions for the world's most pressing problems, was launched. 28 months later, we are gathered again to share the impact it has delivered, meet its champions, and launch a new partnership. Today, I'm joined by Puneet Ranjan, Global CEO of Deloitte, Mark Benioff, Chair and Co-CEO of Salesforce, Ina Moja, Land Ambassador at the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, William Kwende, founder of Serious Seas, Gimwe Neo, Managing Director of the Center for Nature Climate at the World Economic Forum, and Roshni Nadar Malhotra, who will be joining us later, Chairperson as HCL Technologies. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, for making time to speak with us. UpLink annual report was launched today. As one of UpLink's 3 founders in 2020, Puneet, could you please share with us your reflection on UpLink's journey and how the platform has been necessary for Deloitte's impact objectives?
First, thank you for that, and it's great to be on the stage with my friend Mark, and Roshni will be here. We're all purpose-driven organizations, so...
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining it. You've made it right on time. Perfect.
So, Roshni, I was saying we're all purpose-driven organizations. It's wonderful to be on the stage with you and with some of these ecopreneurs that we will talk about, and the WEF. You talked about impact. Let me give you some numbers in terms of what UpLink has been able to achieve. $1 billion in funding for the innovators. 16 million people provided access to essential health services. 10 million people increased their income through UpLink. 2.8 metric tons of greenhouse gases. I think this is million metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions reduced. I think it's actually pretty remarkable what UpLink has achieved over the last 2 years, something that Mark may have envisioned it, but it has certainly exceeded my expectations. I want to comment on Deloitte, but also talk a little bit about Salesforce, because we have similar values. We're a purpose-driven organization. We're driven by making an impact for our clients that we serve, the people that we hire, and the communities that we live and work in. And that is to make an impact that matters. That is how we are, that's our purpose, and that governs everything that we do. And so UpLink really fits into that, because the problems that we face, that the United Nations has so eloquently put out with the SDGs, can only be solved if everybody comes together. Business, the public sector, civil society. But one reason why we started UpLink, Salesforce, Deloitte, and WEF, was to bridge the disconnect that exists between innovators, ecopreneurs, and access to resources and capital, and UpLink was that bridge. But what we didn't imagine was the impact that UpLink would have for established entities like Deloitte. And I want to spend just a minute and talk about that, because I think it has had a tremendous impact. It's certainly identified innovators and ecopreneurs, and we've got a couple on the stage that will talk to you about it. But at Deloitte, we've made a commitment that we will impact 100 million people across the globe, 50 million of them women and girls in India, through education, by leveraging our most valuable asset, our people, the 400,000 individuals that call Deloitte home. And what we did with UpLink was we launched a challenge to help us bridge the gap between what we were trying to do in impacting the 100 million people. And we identified a number of ecopreneurs that we have now sponsored. They've been with us for a year, and the impact that they're having is unimaginable. So UpLink has not only helped bring ecopreneurs to come and help address problems that we face, it has actually enabled a large established organization like Deloitte.
Thank you. And those are powerful numbers. Mark, as one of the founding partner of UpLink and an innovator of 1T.org, an initiative that collaborating closely with the platform, could you tell us why innovation is crucial at Salesforce climate objectives, and also how ecopreneurs have been making a difference on the ground?
Well, thanks so much, and thank you, Puneet. And I think we're ready for a new environmental capitalism. I think about that every day. As the CEO of Salesforce, we're now a company with 75,000 employees and the third largest software company in the world. It's very meaningful to me that we're also net zero, that we're fully renewable now, that it's not some future commitment that we're making, but that we realize the planet is a key stakeholder today. It's one of the reasons why 2 years ago we came here to introduce 1T.org, the Trillion Tree Program, and why we're so excited to see such incredible commitments from corporations and governments all over the world, including what we just heard from the ministers from the United States and Chinese making further commitments to the Trillion Tree Program to sequester 200 gigatons of carbon, something we badly need to do for our planet, and why we're committed to an ecopreneur revolution, energizing these ecopreneurs, all these incredible young entrepreneurs, people like me, but dedicated not to tech, but to the environment. And these ecopreneurs, while they're guiding us to the future, this is an exciting moment for us. And we saw that really emerge. Puneet and I were just here 2 years ago introducing UpLink. Our companies built it, and we deployed it here at the WEF. We didn't expect to have 30,000 ecopreneurs collaborating, sharing, coming up with new ideas, new solutions every single day. So this is an important time. This is a critical moment that we can all adopt a new environmental capitalism. We can all become net zero. We can certainly all plant a tree, but we can also all support these incredible ecopreneurs who we're about to hear from. And you're going to see it all live and in action on UpLink. And thank you, Puneet, for your leadership, because without it, we would not have been able to achieve this incredible goal. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you. And speaking of this, let's meet those ecopreneurs. William, you are a top innovator and a winner of the 2021 1T.org Sahel Challenge. First of all, what is an ecopreneur? Especially, what is an ecopreneur in West Africa?
Well, we at Seriouche empower 500 women group in sustainable production of mango and shea, which means that we provide them platforms which are zero carbon, zero deforestation, so they can process their products, which we bring to the world market. The focus on the value chain is actually critical. It is critical because it provides livelihood, economic opportunity, which are necessary to protect the Great Green Wall. Because if we do not provide this opportunity, the Great Green Wall and all these other initiatives might end up in charcoal. We are very grateful to have been selected as an entrepreneur and a top innovator by 1T.org and UpLink. It has, in fact, changed a lot, I'll say, our development. It has evolved, and we are now part of the 1T.org Sahel Coalition. And with the other member of the coalition, we are able to deliver accelerated change and impact on the ground. This public-private partnership coalition actually has eco-entrepreneur, has government, businesses, and also the civil society. And this allows to really provide a great impact and an accelerated development for the Great Green Wall and the economy in the Sahel.
Thank you. Ina, could you tell us a bit more about what it is to work with 1T.org and UpLink and what kind of support that they provide ecopreneurs?
So, like you said before, I'm a UNCCD ambassador, so I started almost 6 years ago doing an advocacy for the Great Green Wall project, and it was really under the radar when I started, and I see how impactful and how important it is, not just for the Sahel, but for the whole world, because when the Great Green Wall will be achieved in the end, it is something that is going to benefit all of us. And for me, I created a nonprofit based on the Web3 and really harnessing the power of creativity and the creative economy there to create a bridge between the Web3 communities and the real world communities of people who are living either on the front line of climate change or are going through social and gender issues. And so that has been something quite exciting because Web3 and NFTs, a lot of people have heard about NFTs but don't quite know what it is. And what we are doing is really embracing these new technologies that is very exciting, and the communities that are building the Web3 space and bringing awareness to different projects. So we did some auctions. We helped a lot of projects in the Great Green Wall by supporting them, not just with funding, but also partnerships, and have people really know about them, engaging these Web3 communities into becoming more activists, because there is a sense of giving back in the space, and it's something that I personally am building towards to really harness that and have thousands of people become activists and doing the work that I am doing today, because a lot of people don't know where to start. And art and communities are, for me, communities are the heart of everything. And looking at the Great Green Wall, how it evolved, they are the essence of the project. They are the heart of it, and that's why I push for community-driven solutions. And if we can create a global movement by using the Web3, this is something that I am very open to see. Let's see how it goes in a few years.
Thank you, Ina. Expanding a little bit on what you've said, you've talked about this community, and really that's what UpLink is creating. Gimwei, can you share with us how important, first of all, how important innovation it is to accelerate meeting the SDGs, but also how important it is to have collaboration to move entrepreneurship forward?
First, I want to congratulate the ecopreneurs as well as to thank Deloitte and Salesforce for their leadership on launching UpLink innovation platform. It's only 2 years old, but we've actually seen the power of how it can actually mobilize innovation efforts. The priority for us on the climate and nature agenda is around action. Action, action. The crisis is upon us. We need to act, and we need to support innovators and entrepreneurs and get their solutions to the market. The second area that I also want to use this opportunity to call for is scale and speed, and really the need for us to really call on all the funds, capital, philanthropy, as well as others to invest and supporting these entrepreneurs to bring their solutions and implement it at scale, right? We need to really act very quickly and act at large scale in order to address the challenge that is already upon our doorstep. 1TrillionTrees.org is about tree planting, it's about land restoration, it's a public-private partnership, and part of this is mobilizing corporates to make tree commitments, tree planting commitments, but also to energize innovators to look at how we can plant trees and use technology to do this in a way that is robust and resilient and self-sustaining. So it is really the kinds of collaboration we hope to foster more within the forum. I mentioned this because I'm also very delighted today to be sitting next to Ms. Roshni Nada Malhotra, and we have a new collaboration to continue to launch new themes on the UpLink platform. And today, the one that we're going to launch is around water. And I'm very delighted that Roshni has agreed and decided to champion water entrepreneurs. And I'll leave her to share more about her vision around the space. Thank you.
Yeah, Gimwei has teased us a little bit about this new announcement. Can you make the big announcement and let us know about this new partnership?
Thank you so much to everybody here. Just to set a little bit of perspective, by 2030, the world population will be 8.5 billion, and the demand for fresh water, not just by us humans as a species for food production and health, but also natural habitats, biodiversity, will exceed more than 40%. Even today, only 1% of the world's fresh water is accessible, which is your rivers, lakes, ponds, and wetlands. The rest is in glaciers and underground, and this is depleting fast, as we know. And most are categorized as poor to very poor in ecological health. Now, I come from a country which is 17% of the world's population and growing, but only home to 4% of the world's freshwater sources. And by 2030, at least in India, the urbanization is expected to increase by 50%. So you can imagine the stress that's going to be on water recharge, on people, on biodiversity, on natural habitats, and even urban natural habitats. While this problem is magnified when it's in India, it's equally magnified in many parts of the world. Today I wanted to launch an initiative with UpLink, and it's called the Aquapreneurs Innovation Initiative. Not very original, from ecopreneurs. But the focus is going to be fresh water. And, how can we source innovation, entrepreneurs in freshwater solutions across the world, increasing people, increasing talent capacity in the field, providing a landscape for collaboration. There might be solutions that already exist, but how can we provide various aqua labs all over the world where they can actually experiment their innovation and ideas, and really look for nature-based solutions, tech-based solutions. Who are the young people who are working in this space? So thank you so much. And I represent an organization, an IT services organization with more than 200,000 people. Since HCL was founded, we used to call them ideapreneurs. So it's really good that we've leaped from techpreneurs, ideapreneurs, to ecopreneurs and aquapreneurs. So thank you.
Thank you. So my panelists were incredibly succinct, and we've managed to squeeze out a few minutes for questions. So if there's any questions in the room, I'll open up the floor. I know there's a few journalists here. Yeah. If you can state your name and organization, please.
Hi. My name is Jessica from EcoBusiness. I'm based in Singapore. So my question really is that we've seen the market's been very volatile, and in times like that, investors seek safety. And I run a fund myself, so I know that a lot of the capital is actually flying to fixed income or really safe investments, whereas investing in innovation and venture is considered as a little higher risk. So I'd love to hear some views on whether you think that this would jeopardize perhaps the innovation around SDGs that we're hoping to see, or do you see new areas or new pools of capital coming to fund these ecopreneurs, aquapreneurs? Thank you.
If anyone, that seems very open and everyone's qualified to answer that question.
I'm happy to answer it. Mm-hmm. I think that you're witnessing an ecopreneur revolution, and these incredible numbers of new entrepreneurs who are starting new companies in Silicon Valley, where I'm from. It's estimated that 25% of all new companies are focused on environmental solutions. And while valuations might be resetting in this kind of environment, maybe they even got a little peaky, I would say, you can see now that this is still going to be an opportunity because there's so much capital that can be deployed by investors on this incredible new sector. And you're seeing solutions that are going to deliver tremendous returns and already have to the investment community. So I think it's actually going to be a very positive environment, and great companies are born in recessions. Salesforce was born in 2001 in a recession, and I expect a lot of these ecopreneurs will be born in this recession as well.
I would echo what Mark just said, but I would just add 2 quick points. One, we talk a lot about technological innovation, and that will play a critical role. But nature-based solutions, and Roshni, I was very glad to hear that part of what you're launching today has a nature-based component to it. Nature-based solutions, I think, which are community-oriented and are less costly, are equally important. And I think that is going to play a critical role. I think one other point that we forget is that investors and other stakeholders certainly are key here. But let's take Deloitte. The reason why we do this, why I do this, is I have 400,000 professionals. 86% of them are millennials and Gen Zs. And I poll them every quarter. Invariably, they ask me, what does Deloitte do beyond its core profit motive? We will hire 70,000 professionals this year. We will compete with Roshni at some of the best universities. And they will ask us, what does Deloitte do beyond its core profit motive? So if we don't have a credible response within the organization and within our communities, we're not going to hire the very best individuals, and we are definitely not going to retain them. So come recession, I think this revolution is here to stay.
If I can just add, return on nature also takes time. So I think that as soon as you start measuring the way you've measured return on investments in other startups, you devalue the impact that you create. So, building frameworks that measure return on investments in nature or in these ecopreneurs or aquapreneurs, their solutions might take a little longer. How you define risk will also be different. But I think, there is an opportunity, at least for large organizations like us, to deploy patient capital and allow the solutions to actually evolve. And as Puneet said, nature-based solutions exist, and they might take a little longer to show impact, but they will.
As an ecopreneur from the Sahel, we also took action and opportunities within this crisis. 2 weeks ago at the COP15 in Abidjan, we had a meeting where we're looking at using our platforms to mobilize more foodstuff for the global economy. We think that we can significantly contribute to the resilience of the global food market by using our technologies to bring online a significant amount of food products.
Hi, my name is Martina. I work for the Chinese news agency Xinhua and the Chinese television CGTN. Congratulations, first of all, great initiative, but it does sound very nice. So how do you actually make it work in the context of COVID-19 and the decoupling and more geopolitical tensions? I would like to ask Puneet and Mark as well, because we still have a monopoly of capital being deployed mainly to the likes of Silicon Valley and so on. So in terms of geographic diversification, how will you make sure that more developing markets, frontier markets, and so on can benefit? Thank you.
Well, my friend Mark here says nobody's against a tree. So whether you're in China, geopolitics plays nothing in terms of some of these solutions that are being proposed by these ecopreneurs. Mark gave an example of Silicon Valley. I think there are ecopreneurs and entrepreneurs in China, and in mainland China, for instance, we've committed to helping 10 million left-behind children as China has rapidly urbanized and developed. Many of these children have been left with grandparents and others, and there's an educational component there. So there are opportunities in China, and we are deploying across the globe. You want to add to that?
Well, I think we just came from a panel in the plenary where we heard from Minister Xie Zhenhua. And he said that in order to combat climate change and to green the planet, that China will actively respond to the World Economic Forum's 1T.org initiative, which Salesforce started now 2.5 years ago. by planting and conserving 70 billion trees by 2030. So this is very exciting. China has about 25% of the world's trees. As you know, we had 6 trillion trees. We now only have 3 trillion trees left on our planet. We need to put 1 trillion trees back. And so if we're going to add 1 trillion trees, then I hope that China will put in 250 billion trees. And this is an incredible opportunity because I think, as Puneet said, nobody is anti-tree. And we can have a tree diplomacy. And if we can agree on the tree, maybe we can also find other things that we can agree to as well.
And
And
on
if
that,
I may, sorry, if I just supplement that, because the trillion trees is already in Sahel with the Great Green Wall in India, in America, and with China coming on, I think we have a very good momentum to continue to scale the efforts forward.
so on that wonderful vision of all of us agreeing on a tree, I would like to thank my panelists today for making the time to share with us new partnership, tell stories of the impact of UpLink and the expansions and extension that is coming into the future. Thank you all for joining us today in the room and on the live stream.
Thank you.
All right.
How are you doing?